Good morning, everyone. Professor Bell here. Today we're going to look in this brief video how you can build population pyramids. This document that you see is in the Dropbox for this assignment. In the assignment you'll need to also build a climate graph, and I'll show you that in a different lecture. What I want to do here is show you how to build the pyramid and things you need to look out for when you're looking through this spreadsheet document. First, you'll see what I've highlighted here are the important pieces of information that you'll need to build your population pyramid. In this example, I'm using Algeria. Now, you have the choice of choosing any country in the world you want. Everything that's on this list is fair game except for the ones that have a strike through the title here or the name of the country. And the reason why I did this is there wasn't enough data to graph both graphs or reliable data or whatever. So if you see one with a strike through the words, then that one's not an option for you. But choose any of the other ones that you like, and what you'll see here is this is the country, but I've put in caps out beside it the city for which you will build your climate graph. Again, I'll show you that one in a different lecture, but I want to at least let you see how this sheet is organized. I got this from a demographic yearbook, so this is showing things from age cohorts, as you see here, 0 to 4, 5 to 9, all the way. You may find, depending on what country you choose, it may not go anywhere close to 100. It might stop at 75. It doesn't matter. I have faith in the data that's there, and you graph for what you find. Now, I want to put this red flag out there for you for those who choose. If you choose a country then that has these two sets of data instead of just the one, that would be one where you need to actually add those items together. Now, let me explain what they are real quick. When you see a 0, you may ask, well, how can there be over 500,000 males that are 0? But the way they measure this statistically is from 0 to 1 year of age. And that is a demographic device that they call look for infant mortality rates, how many children die before reaching the age 1. And this is an important metric for a lot of countries. You'll see then a second category here, the 1 to 4 cohort, and that is for child mortality rates up to the age of 5. So in this case right here, where you see for Algeria, it's already married together. That gives a solid cohort. You need to add these two things together for the males and these two things together for the females to get a 0 to 4. So just make sure you do that and you're careful with your math, because if you graph it just as it is, it's going to make the bottom of your graph look really weird, and it won't show you the true trend that you see if you look at these population pyramids in chapter 1. So if you're not sure what we're trying to do, consult the book as well as for what your shape your pyramid will take. Okay, so again, we're looking for a country, the age cohort, and the sex cohorts for male and female. So I'm going to show you how to do this, but I'm going to do it with a country that is not an option for you, and that is Vanuatu here at the very end. Okay, I'm doing it, and I'll do the climate graph for Port Vila as well. So what are the data that you need? Well, you need the age cohort. So I'm just going to go in here and copy this. Now at the bottom you see tabs, and here's footnotes if you want to read about the data. It's not interesting and isn't even germane, but you can add a sheet tab here, and what we'll do is we'll pull this one out over here if we can, right there, and then we're going to name this. We're going to rename it Vanuatu, Vanuatu. Okay, so with my A1 cell highlighted, I'm just going to paste it in here, what I just copied from the other page. I didn't like it, so hold on, let me go back again here and get this. Actually, I'm going to put total over the top of this, and you'll see why in just a moment. So if I go back in, I can paste that in. Now, when the data, when the cell is overrun here, just grab the little thing at the top and stretch it over, and then you can see all of it lay out. And you're going to do the same thing going back here to your data, and you're going to do it for male and female. So I'm going to have these totals right here, and I'm going to copy those. I like keystrokes, by the way, so that's what I do. If you want to use the mouse, have at it. It's fine. Okay, so let me stretch these back out here so that we can take a look at them, and you'll notice that what came over as well was another cell or excuse me, another column of information, I don't want it. So I'm going to just delete that column and bring it back together again. Okay, so I don't really need these totals at all. So actually I'm going to go through here and delete these. Okay, so if I delete that out, now I can go in and put in my headers, male and female. Okay, so now I'm ready to graph for the pyramid itself, the population pyramid. Now here's the deal though, because you have to have these numbers be on opposite sides of a y-axis, one of these needs to be negative. And so what I'm going to do is come in here on the male side and make all of these, pardon me, I already did a bad thing. Hold on just a second, I'm going to undo that. You have to enter that, so enter, and then I can't just tab down or else it thinks I'm trying to do a math problem and add cells together. So this is a little bit of stuff that you have to do to manipulate the data. And I'm going to pause it now, do all of this and get it ready and come back to you in just a second. Okay, so while I was out, I had made all of the male numbers here negative. This means they'll fall on the opposite side of the y-axis. I dressed this up so you could see it better too, highlighting the various cohorts and whatnot. So, but you're ready to graph for this thing now. So just highlight all of this, and we want to insert a chart. So what kind of chart do we want? Well, we can open this up and start to see here that they offer different charts for you. But if I look right here, and if you measure out, or excuse me, look for what you see in chapter 1 is what a pyramid should look like. This kind of orientation where the y-axis is here in the middle, the x-axis at the bottom. This looks like exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and just opt for that recommended chart. And you're well on your way to having a finished population pyramid. Now, just a moment. So I can move this, I can change things around, and so if I grab these little toggle switches here, I can get it bigger or smaller depending on how much I want to see as I go to manipulate this thing. All right, so here it is essentially, but we got to dress this up. So let's click on the numbers here, right click and format the axis. And for this one, we want to see where the labels go, and these are labels, so we don't want them next to the axis. We want them to go what is low. So here they are on the side. So already now we're working pretty well with the data, making this look more readable, more legible. Here's a problem right down here for me because I made all these negative values. You can't have negative males on this, so I want to actually manipulate this to change these numbers. So I want to format this axis, and if you look at the numbers, and I'll bring it up here for you, you can move from negative to red scale on those, and it'll change it and they'll be positive. And so now you have red to black as positive numbers for the x-axis. So I'm going to make those bold too because it's easier to read. I'm going to make these bold as well because it's easier to read, and it represents the data a bit better. Okay, next I want my colors to match up as well, so I want to choose this by clicking on one of the bars in the male bar graph part of this. I want to format that, and I want to turn that to a red as well. So a fill of color, which is red and red. Okay, and so that's it. So this side I'm going to turn another color. Let's say it's going to be, let's say we'll go with this dark blue right here. Okay, if we need to outline it as well, we can outline it as well. Maybe I should have done this over here, so let me see if I can do that. Fill and outline. I think it did it both on that one. Okay, next I want to look at how this offset looks. It doesn't match up nicely, so I'm going to click this data set, which is female. I'm going to look at the gap width here, and so let me play with this and see what happens if I turn this into a 0. Okay, if I turn that into a 0, that didn't actually help anything, did it? So let me highlight it again and then see if I need this to be 100. and that works. So what you see now is that it's piled it up, but I still see a problem here. What I want to do with this is actually make sure that there's a little breathing room between there. So if pardon me, let me see here. Yeah, if I can get some breathing room in here, I want some gap width. So I want to try 10 and see how that works. Now, this helps us see where the 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14 cohort has changed. My next step is to change this font color to a blue so it matches it as well along the top, so you get the difference between the male and female here. I want to move my legend to another area, and it can tell me, well, where do you want to put it? I want to put it in the top right and kind of get it out of the way. But what that does is changes the inside graph. So I didn't really like that. So I'm actually going to grab this. I'm going to move it. Hang on just a moment. Actually, I'm going to make this bigger right here back to where it was. And then I'm going to grab my graph and my legend and pull it this way. Obviously, you can manipulate what's inside here if it feels too cramped or you want to stretch it a little bit more or whatnot. I want to do a couple things to fill this. I want to fill it with white so then it doesn't have a problem here. If you want to go in and change these things, make the font bigger or bolder, you can do that as well. So I'll go do that so it's easier to read. And so that's all worked out. And finally, your chart title. So you just go in here and highlight where it says chart title, and you can add in V-A-N-U-V-A-N-U-A-T. I always have trouble spelling that. I don't know why. But now we have a graph, a population pyramid that works for this country. We should include, by the way, data from it. So let me actually go back here and see my year the data came from. It's 2009. So I'm going to put that in as well, 2009, and make it not bold, but where it's still easily legible. I'm going to stretch this a little bit more here and then actually drop this down just to have a little breathing room, and thus you now have a finished population pyramid for your country. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you don't run into any trouble. If you do, all you need to do is give me or your professor a shout, and hopefully you are on your halfway to your goal of 2 graphs for the assignment about building graphs. All right, see you in the next one.